Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Nick Tan Chats, my magic and mostly mentalism review show. My name is Nick Tan, and on today's episode, I'll be chatting with you guys about Casi-Know 2.0, released by Black Cat Magic. So hi again guys, welcome back to the channel, and as always, thanks for showing up, thanks for tuning in, and thanks for spending some time with me today. So it is the year end, and as with many other professional performers here in Singapore, we've started getting busy, filling our schedules with shows lined up and, getting out there on stage to perform again. And because it is the season, so I will be getting busier, in the next couple of weeks, in the upcoming month or so. I figured, any time I have, I will try, all right, as best as I can to do some of these review items for you guys, because I still have a couple of, items left over that I've not chatted about yet. So on today's episode, I will be chatting about this item, all right, which I quite like actually. This is called Casi-Know 2.0 that is released by Black Cat Magic. So first of all, the name got my attention, all right, because it is kind of like a pun, and I really enjoy puns, right? Casi-Know. Okay, so it's Casi-Know because it deals with poker chips, C-A-S-I, Casi, and then know is as in, know, right? K-N-O-W. And ironically, this product allows you to do exactly that. So I think it's really clever that, it's called Casi-Know. So what is Casi-Know? Well, Casi-Know is a specially designed set of poker chips, all right? Well, to me at least, they're like kind of split up into like two different sets, okay? There's a set of 6 and a set of 4. Both of them come together, obviously, as one whole package, when you purchase Casi-Know. But the first set, all right, of 6 are actually readers. Okay, so, I think you know what that means, right? So they can give you certain bits of information when you look at them, even though they're face down on the table. And then the second set are these 4, all right? Now these 4, well, they are gaffed, they're gimmicked. Okay, I don't think I need to be talking much about these 4 because, well, they are, let's just say they're almost impossible to place face down. Okay, so, but as I said, they can be used in a multitude of ways. If you have a routine that requires some kind of a multiple out perhaps, or if you have a routine that requires some sort of, forcing procedure, these 4 can come in handy. So it's really nice that they do come with the set as well. But I wish to talk about these 6 actually. So let me just show you a little close-up, all right, of the chips. Okay, so this is the back design of the chips. As you can see, it says Diamond Casi-Know. Okay, Diamond Casi-Know. And the values are all 6 different values, okay? You've got 1,000, 500, 25, 50, 100, and 200, all right? So that's what they are, all right? Just 6 poker chips, really ordinary, very normal, regular looking poker chips. But just, just by like looking at any one of them, you will be able to tell, for example, that this one is the 50. Okay, so that's what they do. Okay, now these chips are really well made. In fact, they are basically the real thing. Okay, I think Black Cat Magic has actually contacted an actual poker chip maker to get these done. So the set comes with all of these 10 chips and also a black velvet bag for you to carry them wherever you go. Along with the physical props themselves, you'll also receive a PDF, like a 44-page PDF, explaining to you exactly, the system that is used with these set of 6 chips. Okay, so you know exactly how to go about reading them. And also, it also gives you some routining ideas. I think like 4 routines or so that are provided to get you started, to kind of get an idea of how to use them in your performances. So props wise, all right, that's all I really have to say about Casi-Know. Okay, they are what they are. They are just poker chips, all right, really well made poker chips. They're like the real thing, basically, okay, with a really nice and easy to use system as well for you to get the information. Now, you can actually get the info from a decent amount of distance. I can probably get this like from across a table, I think. Not like, really far away, right? But if you're performing with someone that is set, opposite you, no problem whatsoever. They can have the chip right in front of them and you will still be able to do what needs to get done. Now, while the system is easy to learn, I did have to kind of get used to it slightly, okay, because there's some kind of memory work involved, for me at least, okay, because I kind of am not familiar with the values that were like on the faces, okay, so I kind of had to assign a particular thing to each of the images. So that took me a little bit of time, but it wasn't that hard, you know. I can quite comfortably, you know, perform with these chips like right now. So this set of chips is not an effect, right? They're not an effect, you know, they're not like a routine by themselves, right? These are really just tools for you to use and for you to create your own routines with. And these are high quality props, right? They look exactly like the real thing. I mean, they are real poker chips, all right? And if you were to combine them with like a deck of playing cards, you know, I think you have a really strong looking casino gambling themed kind of a performance. And because of the way the props are designed, you know, they are really inspectable, you know, they can be examined. I would have no problems whatsoever to, you know, have a spectator just handle all of the chips, all right? Unless you know what you are dealing with, okay, unless you know what you're looking for, I don't think it's, you know, easy for anyone to kind of figure it out, you know, from a cursory kind of an examination. Plus, I think the way they are used is also really important, right? Because the way they're applied, okay, which kind of not have people have that kind of suspicion, you know. I mean, the worst thing you can do is, you know, what many people do with one of those dies, right? Those really expensive dies, okay? Like turn the die to a number, that's a 6. Turn the die to another number, that's a 5, right? That kind of a thing, right? So it is the equivalent of having a spectator, you know, mix these up. They randomly hand you one, or they place one onto the table, and you say, oh, this is a 200, like that. Right? So, and that is like the worst way to use these, right? So I think the application of these is really important. And I think a really good example of how to use them in a strong way is actually outlined in the PDF. The first routine in particular, I think there are like 4 routines that are discussed. The first one is actually my favorite because it is a routine called One Night In. Okay, one night in, ... So that is a gambling themed routine. So what happens is you have a spectator, I mean the effect, right? I won't describe exactly what happens, but the effect is that you can kind of predict a playing card, all right, that a spectator will select from a deck of cards. You can predict the name of an imaginary casino, or maybe the country of, you know, where he wants to play a game of cards. And also you can kind of sense, or rather read his mind and tell him which poker chip he has chosen as well. So that is like a multi, you know, phased routine which uses these chips in a very subtle way. So the information is given to you, but you make use of that information in a way that doesn't seem like it would help you, even if they kind of knew how you got the information, right? I hope that makes sense. This is exactly the same kind of thinking that I use when I you know, perform with a deck of cards, you know, like with a deck of readers as well. You don't just have them deal a card onto the table and you tell them what the card is, right? You make use of that information to do other things so that whatever the effect, the ultimate effect is really far away. It's really like a long distance away from, you know, the actual method itself. So yeah, you know, I think the applications for this set of chips is really just up to your imagination. And I think just playing with the chips themselves, you know, after a while, I think you will get an idea of how you can use them. Obviously, them being poker chips, right, they would go really great with a deck of cards, right? So you could use the set of poker chips, a deck of cards, some billet work, you know, to get you, okay, that kind of billet work, you know. You could use Louis Laval's OTT, in fact, and if you apply that billet technique with the chips and with a deck of cards, I think you have a really nice, tidy and strong and fooling routine. And because it is also gambling themed, right, it suits the whole mentalism-y, mentalist kind of a routine, right, the whole persona, because you could, you know, tell people about how you're reading their tells or what have you. I mean, just an example of what you can do, you could hand the chips to the spectator, explain what they are, obviously, show them that they all have different values, have them mix up the chips, tell them to mix up the chips and place them in a stack on the table. So you could do this just like kind of walking a short distance away, because you can get the info from a good distance, right? This will depend on your eyesight, obviously, but let's just say if you place it across the table, they shuffle up the chips, you tell them now to pick up whatever chip is on top. Okay, so they can take the top chip, and now you can walk away, like really far away, and you can do a witch hand with them. Perhaps perform just one phase of Tequila Hustler, and tell them from across the room which hand the chip is in. Once you have told them which hand the chip is in, you can then, once you show them that you're right, you can then take it a step further, tell them now to take a little peek at the value of the chip that they have in their hand, right? And once they have that, they can place their hand behind their back, and from across the room, you can tell them which chip they have. So that is just an example of how you can apply. It's just a rough idea, it's just an example of how I kind of approach this, right? Just use the method really early, get rid of the method first, and then perform something which kind of doesn't relate back to the method that is used like so early on. So all in, I really like this set of chips, Casi-Know 2.0. This is something that I actually bought for myself, all right? So Barry didn't like send this to me, from Black Cat Magic. I bought this myself because I've always loved this sort of props, okay? And I actually tried, at one time to make a set for myself, and it was a set that I can use. I tried looking for it, but I've just lost it somewhere, because I've moved, in the past like 6-7 years, and I've moved house. I probably like misplaced them along the way, but I have tried to make a set before, and they work, but not as nicely as this set. Okay, so if you have some ideas already, if you can see yourself using a set of props like this, in your close-up work, in stage work as well, I think this will work, in a Casino Royale kind of like an effect, right? Larry Becker's kind of effect. You can also create something like that, a multi-phased routine. So if you can see yourself performing with this, then I highly recommend Casi-Know 2.0, all right? Because these are just professionally made props, built to last a lifetime, really easy system to use, and just playing with them will get your creative juices going already. Alright, so that's all for today's episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I do need to start preparing for a show really soon. I have got one coming up tonight, actually, so I will just quickly end the video here. But if you have any more questions that I have not covered, about this set of props, from Black Cat Magic, do leave your questions in the comments section down below, and I will try to answer them individually, one at a time, or separately. They all mean the same thing. Alright, so that's all for today's episode, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Till the next episode, take care of yourselves, stay safe, enjoy your magic and your mentalism, and I will see you on a future episode of Nique Tan Chats.